Okay, here we are doing another episode of the Three Amigos. Once again, we're in Amigo Down. This is hopefully this isn't becoming a habit. Been missing shows, um, but we're still here, so we can talk about Summerslam and Raw and Smackdown. I guess. Should we start with Summerslam? I think starting with Summerslam is a good idea.
Yeah, Summerslam's obviously the big show. So
Yeah, what did you think, man?
overall, I thought it was awful,
Yeah, man. Like
horrifically bad.
whenever we did the last podcast, I remember talking about how excited I was for SummerSlam. I was really legit excited about it. I thought the card looked really good. There was a lot of good matches on it, a lot of good people who working together. It should have been really awesome,
Yeah,
but it wasn't super awesome. And I don't really know why it wasn't. I think maybe it was paced wrong. Some of the big title matches seemed a little bit flat, which is a shame.
yeah.
Um, I quite liked the end of the main event though. I liked it, but I didn't like a whole lot of the crap that went before it. You know what I mean? I was underwhelmed. I think. What do you think? Yeah, match of the night for SummerSlam. What do you think?
John Cena and AJ Styles.
They ripped it up, didn't they? They did a really good job.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Yes, I very much like that match. That was the one match that really was able to kind of deliver on the hype that was set out. You know, if you watch John Cena versus AJ Styles, and they've wrestled before, so they had to kind of pull some stuff out of the bag, and they did. It was a very very enjoyable match. Um, what do you think of the other ones? The other
Finn
matches?
Balor and Seth Rollins, I thought was good.
Yeah.
Not as good as I thought it would be. Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler didn't seem like a WWE title match.
No, it didn't. It seemed a bit flat.
That's about all the good matches there was, in my memory.
The tag match at the beginning was fine, but well, it was okay. But that was a problem, I guess. Like I thought it would be better than it was, and that was a problem. That was a theme throughout SummerSlam. Is that I thought it should have been better than it was. You know, especially all the hype we gave it like 3 days ago or last week, whatever. We were pretty hyped about it, and then it just didn't seem to flow very well. No, very strange. Yeah, I mean, I was really excited about SummerSlam, and I feel a little disappointed with all the talent they had. I think I'm most disappointed in the Dean Ambrose match because they hyped that up perfectly. The booking for that, the build for it was all perfect, and then the match we got wasn't that good. And I think that's maybe Ziggler's fault because Dean Ambrose went in and wrestled a regular Dean Ambrose match, but Dolph Ziggler had all of this momentum behind him, and he had the angle where he was supposed to, really steal the show and really pull something out of the bag to show that he was the best, and to really, that was his angle for him to really kind of steal the show, as it were, and he didn't at all. You know what I mean? It was really mostly just Ambrose being aggressive on Ziggler, which is what you would have expected from Ambrose, but Ziggler didn't do a whole lot to kind of light a fire or anything like that, which is a real shame. Dolph Ziggler. But I don't know. What else can we say about SummerSlam?
Well, there was a lot of issues with it, I suppose. So look at what those were. I think the biggest one for me is just the order of the matches.
It was weird. Like the Dean Ambrose match being the fifth one from the end.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Like the Universal title, brand new title. I think we both said in the previous cast that we thought the one before Brock and Orton.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was also before Rusev and Reigns.
Yes.
That's odd. The fact that the women's title match was second on the card, when like third last match on the card was the Six Divas tag match.
Yeah,
A bit backwards there as well.
that was very strange. Very strange. Yeah, like I said, the pacing was wrong on that show. I understand why they put the United States Championship match on so late, because they needed something in between the Finn Balor match and the main event to kind of cool everybody off. But it didn't work right, and also it
It
was
wasn't actually a match, which
yeah,
was another issue.
exactly. It wasn't anything. It was just a load of silliness that didn't get played up on at all on Raw. But we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, the pacing in that show was not good. Um, although I think we were talking about like quick title changes in the
Yeah.
last podcast, and I can't remember which one we were talking about, but the women's match, quick title change. Sasha, what, champion for a month,
Yeah.
and then switch back to Charlotte. I like that idea.
I like the way it was done as well, the sort of counter the bank statement and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't seen a finish like that in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And she still cheated, kind of, but she didn't really cheat. But it still was kind of heelish, and she got away with the belt. That's all good news. I like that. I like the way it worked. Yeah, I thought that was good. What else? I don't know. What the hell else happened on that show? I mean, they had 4 hours of shit. There must have been something else.
Yeah, Enzo and Cass fought Jericho and Owens, so it was a pretty good match.
That was fun. I liked at the
Yeah,
end.
it was first match on the card.
Yeah, that was a shame. I liked.
Actually, just looking at the card here, that match got 12 minutes after all the build up that it got.
Yeah, it did seem kind of short.
Yeah.
That one.
But what's even shorter is the Miz and Apollo Crews.
Oh yeah, that match. There, I can see why I forgot about it.
Very, very short.
It was.
I'm short watching, but according to Wikipedia, it's 5 minutes and 45 seconds.
Like, that doesn't help Apollo Crews at all, does it?
It doesn't help Apollo Crews. It doesn't help the Miz. It certainly doesn't help the Intercontinental title.
Nope.
It just doesn't happen for nobody, really.
No, not a good move. Especially if you want to try and, like, you know. And I thought that was the thing about both mid-card championships, is they didn't do a very good job of, like, doing business with either of those belts at the show.
Yeah, because like the US title probably got about the same amount of time, but the match never actually took place.
Yeah, very odd booking. Like,
yeah, like it's the sort of booking you would see maybe if, like, considering Rusev and Roman fought on Raw as well. Like, if what happened at SummerSlam happened on Raw, and then the match from Raw happened on SummerSlam, would make a lot more sense than the way it actually happened.
It would make a lot more sense. I don't know why they did that, but I don't.
Second biggest card of the year, and then just abandon the match after 4 weeks of build up.
Yeah, but also Rusev was so injured in that pre-match attack. He was so injured that he was totally able to wrestle a match the very next night on Raw. You know, that doesn't make sense either. Yeah.
To be fair, his match on Raw, he came out with the ribs bandaged, and every time he was sort of attacked in the ribs, he ended up injured and lost clean to Big Cass.
Yeah.
Which is obviously being blamed on the injury. So I think they did play it up a bit.
A little bit, I guess.
He was so injured, actually, he walked out of that match.
That is true. He did walk out of the match, but
yeah, I think they played it up in a way, maybe not the way you would have expected them to.
Yeah. He seems alright. A little bit of black tape. I don't know if that's enough to build it properly. I don't know. I feel like if I was booking it, I wouldn't have had the 2 mid-card championship matches kind of both end disappointingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and not just the fact that the Miz won, but more that the match was over very quickly, and it didn't really help Apollo Crews look like a contender because he didn't really look like a giant contender heading into the match. So he needed a good 10, 15 minutes to kind of show off what he was, good at, which is wrestling. And he didn't get it, which is a shame. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, there it is. There it is. Is there any other matches from SummerSlam we have yet to go over?
There was the tag title match, which was very disappointing finish as well.
Oh yeah, that was weird. With the because I wouldn't have called that a DQ. I guess. Well, I guess Big E kind of came down and attacked them both, but I don't know that was a bit weird. Like the end of it with Jon Stewart was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I like Jon Stewart, but I don't think he had a very good SummerSlam this year. I don't think that was.
Or last year when he got involved in Seth.
I actually liked that, but I thought he was going to do something like that. This year, the segment with him and the New Day was a little flat, and I don't know. I thought that match was going to be way better than it was, and I also, like we both did, we thought that the club were winning the belts, and that didn't happen. So, yeah, SummerSlam, weird. And is there any other ones, or?
Well, there's a few other matches, but nothing really
Worth talking about, is there?
How do you feel about Nikki Bella being back?
I'm okay with it. I never really had a problem with the Bellas, and she seems like she can go again. That's good. It's not like they brought her back, like still injured or whatever. I think she's good to go. And we all, I guess it was we suspected Nikki Bella was going to come back anyway, didn't we? We said it was either going to be Nikki or Tamina, and she seems to have disappeared off the radar. So Nikki was the most logical person. I like how they still played Eva Marie's theme. Like they still teased she was going to come out.
Yeah,
I like that.
Had the whole she's on vacation thing.
Yeah, she's fed up with the fans.
Apparently she's our problem now because she's on the British Isles.
Nice, excellent. What else? Should we go over? I guess we should talk about Seth Rollins and Finn Balor a bit, right?
Yeah, well, I'd say it was a good match. Not quite as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, probably.
The fact that they sort of announced just before the match that there was no DQs was a bit odd, and then nothing really happened in the match.
Yeah,
take advantage of that.
That was strange.
I think the only moment in the match where no DQs actually came up was when Seth had a submission on and Finn got to the ropes.
Yeah,
there was no rope break.
Again, a nice touch was Seth quite audibly saying, "It's no DQ. There's no rope break."
Yeah,
but like you said, they didn't really play up on that a whole lot. I mean, they got to play outside the ring, but they probably would have done that anyway.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I really liked how in the replay of Seth Rollins throwing Finn Balor into the barricade, is you can see Finn popping his shoulder back in.
Yeah.
You can see him doing it himself, and he's like, "I got this. Don't worry about it." So fair play to him for finishing the match with busted shoulder. And he did. I thought that match was pretty good. Like you said, probably not as good as it could have been, but definitely the best title match of the night, I reckon.
Yeah,
I think that's
second best match of the night.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
good distance.
Mm-hmm.
I think I haven't seen any AJ stop the show from being a complete disaster.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a very, very, very good match on a fairly underwhelming card. Which was.
I actually thought the pre-show was pretty good.
I didn't watch the pre-show. I haven't got around to watching the pre-show yet.
We'll discuss that in the future, but I think the 12-man tag match was a bit of a mess, but it's always going to be the 12 men of it.
Yep.
But Sami Zayn and Neville did some pretty good stuff in their match with Dudley's.
I should definitely check that out.
Yeah. Looks as if the Dudley's last ever match as well.
So yeah, well, no, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out because I do love the Dudley boys.
And as I said, Sheamus took the first match of the series after losing previous 2 matches to Cesaro.
Was that a good match?
It was a pretty good match, yeah.
Is that worth checking out?
Well, they're going to do it 6 more times, so you can probably live without seeing that particular one. But
that is true. I'm going to be watching
while I was watching.
Okay, well that's good. That's what you want. So SummerSlam, if you were to give it a rating out of 5, not out of 5, let's go out of 10. If you were to give it a rating out of 10, what would you give it?
4.
4. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. I would have said, I probably would have said about a 4 or 5. That was average. I think I would give it a 5 because of the Cena Styles match. Kind of saved it.
If you take Cena and Styles out of it, I would probably give it like a 2.
Yeah, it was not so good.
We never really discussed the main event in much detail there, did we?
Shall we? Well, what?
Like,
shall we?
It was awful.
I don't know if it was awful. I thought Brock did a lot more damage to Orton than Orton did to Brock. And they were like, oh, there was like 2 RKOs. And I'm like, yeah, but what else did Randy Orton do?
A drop kick.
He did the drape and DDT, I think, didn't he?
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
So there you go. That's not good.
Went for a drop kick and was countered.
Not so good.
He officially hit 3 offensive moves.
Oh dear, that's not so good.
2 RKOs in the DDT.
Yeah.
The 12th time World Heavyweight Champion.
Again, it doesn't make him look good.
His career's kind of over now, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Where can he go from here?
Well, they have plans for him on Smackdown, that's for sure. But we'll get to that later. Like I said, I liked the way that it ended because it felt like a shoot. You know, the way that Brock busted Randy open, it seemed a little bit like a shoot. But then once Brock kept going back to keep attacking Randy Orton, I was like, oh, it's not a shoot, it's a work. They're definitely, yeah. And then whenever Shane came out in the F5 Shane, I'm like, oh, this is definitely a work now, for sure.
Yeah.
But I still liked the way it ended because it had that kind of, UFC, MMA kind of touch about it. But again, like we said before, I think that would have been great, but not a great way to end the show.
Yeah.
That would have been a great ending, and the match would have been fine had they switched that match and the Seth Rollins match around. Then it would have been a much better idea. Way, way better. But I don't know, they really have a thing for Brock Lesnar. They really, really do. So I guess they're going to keep pushing him, but it wouldn't have been my idea. But
no. I personally don't have no interest in ever seeing Brock Lesnar wrestle. He doesn't wrestle anything but squash matches and just ruins whoever he's wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, like, if he never wrestled another match again in the WWE, I wouldn't be bummed about it. I would be okay with it. And I don't think that he's as big a draw as they think he is.
No, I think Paul Heyman is the draw.
Yes.
Like, when everyone gets excited every time Brock Lesnar appeared on Raw, because he just sort of stands there while Heyman cuts the promo.
Yeah. I don't think it's bringing any new UFC fans into the WWE.
No.
So I don't know why they keep trying to pretend that it is. They keep trying to leech off his other, his kind of popularity and mainstream appeal, but it's not really working. So they might have to think of something else. Like building up their own superstars into viable contenders. Maybe that's a good idea. Who knows? What do I know? Don't know nothing. So yeah, that match was a little bit average, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's SummerSlam pretty much nailed, right?
Yeah, I think we've talked about everything you talked about first.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about Summerslam anymore. It's over. It's done with. So,
What was good, though, before we move on to on SmackDown,
shoot.
Takeover Brooklyn was a very good show.
It was. Wasn't
I
it? It was
very
so
much
good.
enjoyed it. What was your match of the night for Takeover Brooklyn?
The tag team match. For sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The tag team match was electric. It was
Yeah.
so good. I was still thinking about it today. I'm like, no, it was really good. All of the wee false finishes on that tag match because it was so good. They all worked together perfectly.
Yeah.
And I thought that was electric, man.
And Revival won, obviously, which I still think Gargano and Ciampa are going to come to Raw when the cruiserweights come in, so I'm okay with that.
That would be good, but that might. We also talked about this before. The fact that the NXT roster is looking a little bit thin on the ground right now. Maybe it's not a good idea to take too many of the stars away, because one in particular has left and hit the main roster. But again, we'll cover that pretty soon when we hit SmackDown or Raw.
Yeah.
Was it Raw? It was Raw. Yeah. So I don't want them to get called up too quick because the NXT roster really needs to fill out a bit more. But yeah, I liked Takeover. I liked Bobby Roode's entrance, of course.
Yeah,
it was amazing. I also loved Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance with the violin player.
That was very good.
It was lovely. And Austin Aries won. I didn't think that Austin Aries was going to win, so I'm very happy with that.
And started feud with Tommy.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be so good. The rest of the matches, yeah, they were good. I thought, once again, NXT has managed to trump the main show. And they seem to do it a lot these days. And that I thought, yeah, TakeOver was definitely better than SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think since they started doing these takeovers sort of side by side with the pay-per-views, I think TakeOver's won every time so far.
But I think so.
And this was the one where I thought the main roster was going to win. I thought they were going to have the better show, but
not to be.
TakeOver has over-delivered again, and the main roster disappointed. So,
but like you said, man, it's not the first time.
Yeah,
not the first time.
Now, 6 in a row that TakeOver's been the better show.
Probably about 6 in a row, yeah. No, man, that's not good. And they always talk about how the main roster look at NXT and then they think, right, we are kind of competing with these guys. We know they're going to put on a great show, so we have to get better than them. And they never do it. They never do it. They're always content with letting NXT be the better show. Which is fair enough. Because it is the better show at the moment.
Yeah, I would say that's probably true.
Yeah. Because they're smart. They know how to maximize their minutes. Which is what Raw definitely does not do. Raw has a lot of like stupid backstage Scooby-Doo segments that we don't need. That was a couple of weeks ago, but I was very annoyed about that. How there were a bunch of segments with Scooby-Doo in it.
I actually had managed to take the block out of my memory on the show.
Ugh, well, there you go. Now it's back in your head.
Thanks for that.
The Miz hanging out with Scooby-Doo. Well, this is great. This is awesome. You know. Okay, let's go straight to Raw. Then let's talk about some Raw. Let's get Raw.
Yeah. I thought Raw was a pretty good show.
It wasn't bad, but again, I think the real problem with Raw is the 3 hours. I think the 3 hours is not easy to sit through. SmackDown is easier to sit through because they seem to plan it out better, and I don't think that Raw plans the 3 hours out very well. What happened on Raw that's noteworthy? I know there's one thing in particular we could talk about. The women.
Yeah.
Should we start with that?
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest news on the show.
Okay. On our last podcast, you may have talked about the possibility of bringing up either Asuka or Bayley. And you rightly pointed out that it would be a bad idea to bring up Bayley right now because the women's division in NXT is, I mean, it's there, but there's no real big stars. There's no big, Asuka's big, but I mean, like, in the division, like who else is going to be gunning for the belt? Who has really been built up? Who is their kind of draw in the women's division other than Asuka? So we talked about the smarter thing to do is to leave Bayley there to work with some of the other guys and then bring her up in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So obviously that is exactly what the WWE did not do, and they immediately called Bayley up to Raw.
Yeah.
Now this got me to thinking. Charlotte versus Bayley is probably going to be a really good match, but had Bayley not been there, had they not called Bayley up, who would have been a different viable contender for that belt?
Yeah. Well, the fact that Sasha's injured, I think we didn't know that in the last podcast.
We didn't.
When you throw that in, I think their only real option was to call up Bayley. Because I was actually looking at the women's roster on Raw, and Sasha was legitimately the only face before she got hurt.
Who else is there?
There's Charlotte, Dana, and Nia Jax.
Yes.
And then Nia Jax just wrestles like local jobbers every week.
Yeah.
That's legitimately all there is.
And then Paige, but she's injured as well, right?
Yeah.
That's not a division. That's like 5 people. That's really, that's not good. And I didn't realize this till Bayley got called up. And then I realized that the reason they called Bayley up is because they didn't have anybody else to use in that scenario, which is bad because this is your women's division. Before there was a Smackdown Women's Championship, there was the Women's Championship, which got drafted to Raw, and they didn't take care of it at all. They didn't look after it. They just, the SmackDown, there's more women on SmackDown than there is on Raw, which is weird if you draft that title to Raw to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. So I think they kind of dropped the ball with that division a little bit. I'm psyched to see Bayley on the main roster. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But it kind of shows that there's holes in the women's division on Raw and now also in NXT, which is not good. But
although that new girl Amber Moon that they brought in to take over, she could be a star.
She was cool. Yeah, she was really good.
So maybe she's going to be the one to sort of be the star power to fight Asuka. Maybe,
but we'll have to see what they do. When is NXT on? It will be on Wednesdays. We get it on Thursday.
Yeah, it goes on the WWE Network at about 1 a.m. on the Wednesday night.
Okay, so we'll be able to check it out on Thursday. So hopefully they'll be able to use that hour to hype that, division up a bit more and show us more of that Ember Moon lady.
Yeah.
Because, God knows they need it. But anything else you want to say about women's division on Raw?
Was Nia Jax even on Raw?
I don't think she was.
Talking about how thin the division is.
I don't
have to use all the stars to have.
I don't remember her being on there now. But again, like you said, she's only doing squash matches.
Yeah.
You couldn't have given her 2 minutes to do a squash match. You know what I mean? I don't know. Weird.
Well, Braun Strowman having to pin your man twice probably took up the squash match alliance for Raw.
That was funny though. I like that. I think
Braun Strowman has worked reasonably well without the Wyatt family.
It has gone pretty well, I think.
Because it is just squash matches, so you still don't know whether or not he has learned to take a bump yet, which is a pretty big thing for a wrestler to know how to do.
That is true. That's the first thing they teach you, But I don't mind the Braun Strowman things. I quite like him. I like how they interview the jobbers beforehand.
Yeah.
I love that because there was one a couple of weeks ago where they interviewed a guy and they said, "Why would you want to get in the ring with this Braun Strowman?" And the guy said, "Because I get $1,000, and if I pin him, I get $2,000." I love that. That's great. Yeah. That's ridiculous. They only pay, Braun Strowman's a huge guy. This is some kid out the Indies, and he's only getting $2,000 or dollars to beat Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
But I like the way that's going. And again, like you said, because it's just little squash matches, you don't have to worry about it too much right now. It's whenever they start pushing them to the moon, which they almost certainly will.
Yeah.
That's when we gotta watch out for him. But right now, I think he's.
Sure, I thought when he started attacking the guy again after the match on Raw that someone was going to come and make the save. That was
No.
the start of him actually having a feud, but apparently not.
Why would the boys in the back want to save a jobber? They would much rather see Braun Strowman beat the shit out of them, you know? No one's gotta. The faces on Raw, they just don't have the kind of guts and integrity that they used to, you know?
So I assume somebody is going to eventually make a save again for one of these jobbers. Or it could be a good way to get someone to debut if someone like catches Braun with a wee roll up.
Yeah.
One of these jobber spots.
That would be good. But again, they probably won't do that. They'll have him beat jobbers for the next 2 months, and then by the end of the year, he'll be the champion. That's something to look forward to.
It's entirely possible.
It is entirely possible, and that's the real disappointing thing about it, is that they could totally do this, and I don't know if it'd be good. Probably wouldn't be good, but it's not the first time they've put the championship on somebody not good. Oy. Okay, what else happened in Raw? I have a very bad memory, so I can hardly remember.
The Dudleys, big retirement angle.
Yeah, that was interesting. It got heat for the club. That was good.
Also got heat from Shining Stars, and then they were immediately squashed.
Yep, I kind of hoped that would lead somewhere better than what it did, but
Yeah, but the club, I think, it's more important to get heat for them at the moment than it is the Shining Stars. So
definitely. The only problem with the Shining Stars is once they came back, everybody was pretty sure this was what was going to happen to them anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you can repackage them, but they're still going to be the same guys that they were. I like them. I like Primo. I think Primo is really good. But it's a shame to see them just kind of they appear every so often, and then when they do appear, they're gonna lose. So I don't know, but I guess someone's gonna lose.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna take that bullet.
Yeah. You don't want 50-50 booking, then someone has to be the whipping boys.
Exactly, and I'm sure their time will come at some point, but it's just not right now. Like the club and the New Day really need to keep the focus and really build something sweet towards the next show. What's the next show? Clash of Champions?
Yeah, I think that's the next Raw show.
I saw an advert for that, and it's like Clash of Champions, where every Raw championship's going to be on the line, and like all 4 of them. Wow, you guys really spoil us with your, booking the way you're supposed to book it. If you've only got 4 championships, of course they're going to be on a show that lasts 3 hours, right? Yeah. Don't be idiots. But
you'd think something like Clash of Champions would be a dual brand show.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
The champions are going to clash. It makes sense, but no. Again, they don't see things the way we see things. Oh yeah. So I guess the big news from Raw was Finn Balor having to relinquish his heavyweight championship, and then they had to do a start of a new tournament thing. Not really a tournament, I guess, to find out who's going to be the new champion. Ooh, exciting.
I thought it would have been better if they had done the whole thing on Raw rather than stretching it out the next week.
Yeah.
I think, Raw's just gone a month without having a champion to build up to $7
That's true.
And now again the title's vacant.
Yeah, you'd think they want to give it to somebody as quick as possible, right? But
yeah.
So who exactly has gone through? Big Cass has gone through for next week, and
Big Cass,
Roman Reigns,
Seth Rollins,
Kevin Owens. That should be really good.
Yeah, it should be a good match.
And that's gonna be a fatal 4-way, right? Next week.
Yeah.
And then the winner of that is the champion.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well that's good because it makes people want to tune in. Like now, I want to tune in next week to see who the champion's going to be.
Yeah.
Who do you
But
think the
no, that
champion's going to
could have
be?
also been the case last night. If had have announced on Twitter or something a few hours before the show that they were crowning a new champion, because they already announced that Finn had to relinquish it. So
That is true. So they suckered us in once. They could do it again.
true.
Who do you think out of those four is going to be champion next
I'm
week?
hoping. My heart says KO,
Yes,
but I think it's going to be Seth.
I would agree with that. I think that. Oh, what if they swerve it though and put it in Roman Reigns?
I don't think they will. I think they obviously could plan like what they did at SummerSlam on continuing Rusev and Reigns rivalry,
Yeah,
and it was all sort of put on pause, deal with the vacant title on Raw. So I think Rusev's going to do something and cost Reigns the match next week to continue their feud.
that makes sense. That makes sense. I think we can all agree that Big Cass is not winning that belt.
That
Right?
seems very unlikely.
It seems so incredibly unlikely. Like I love him. I love Big Cass and Enzo, but it doesn't make sense to put the belt on him now. I'm sure at some point they will because he's a big guy. That's what they love, and he can talk, so he can get himself over. But now he's not the right time to put the belt on him.
No.
No, sir. So I think the most logical. I think logically, I would say Seth Rollins is going to win. That makes sense. But again, like we always say, they never make any sense when it comes to booking in WWE. So they could, I don't know, they could put Heath Slater in the match. Who knows? You never know. But I would have Seth Rollins win.
I just sort of a recurrent theme on these podcasts that I just vote KO for everything. So.
And yet they don't do it. What's wrong with these people? They never put Kevin Owens in the championship picture the way they're supposed to. But he'll get his chance. I'm sure he'll fight Braun Strowman at Royal Rumble for the championship.
Sorry, my internet dropped there for a second. Who do you think is going to fight Braun Strowman?
I said I thought it'd be funny if the way that they're going to do it, they're going to have Braun Strowman as a champion by the end of the year, and then Kevin Owens will get his shot fighting Braun Strowman at the Royal Rumble. Give him time. Give him time. That'll be the first one. Kevin Owens will be the first to lose to Braun Strowman.
I hope Kevin Owens has to win.
He has to, but he probably won't. I think it's going to be Seth Rollins. That's what I think. What else happened at Raw? Ooh.
Hello?
Yo.
Sorry,
Nice.
my internet dropped out again there for a second.
Okay, cool. I'll just cut this out. What else happened on Raw that's noteworthy?
See, Dudley's
Yeah.
matches for the Universal title.
Most of it was just those matches.
Charlotte's promo about Sasha Banks was pretty good, and then Bailey, already discussed.
Yep.
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. Have we covered Raw already? Have we really covered Raw?
Struggling to think of anything else.
I feel like we've hit pretty much everything, right? One thing that annoys me about Raw, we covered this, is the lack of proper build for their mid-card championship.
Yeah.
But hopefully, again, this will be addressed next week.
Actually, to be fair, I did enjoy. I thought Titus cut a pretty good promo on Raw.
I didn't like it.
I liked it. The fact that he then got put in the crossface chicken wing by
an old man. By an old man.
Quickly got out of it, then put the old man down, and then eventually put on young guy as well.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that to happen next week. Some more of that build. That'll be fun. At least they're on TV and they're doing something. You know.
Was Cesaro or Sheamus on Raw?
Sheamus cut an interview. He cut a promo backstage, but I don't think Cesaro was on the show.
That seems strange.
Yeah, it does. Why do they always drop the ball with Cesaro? What is the matter with these people? I don't understand. I think Cesaro should be way. He should be at the top or like an upper mid carder or something. But they just don't give him like proper TV time, I guess. Like you said, 3 hour Raw, and there's no room for Nia Jax or Cesaro on the show.
Yeah.
And like
there are people that are in storylines at the minute, like they're trying to build Nia Jax up.
Yeah.
Cesaro is currently running the best of 7 series.
I understand not having the second match in the series the night after they had the first match. I get that. But like a little bit more, like if we can hear from Sheamus, why can't we hear from Cesaro? Why can't we, both sides?
Yeah.
They have 3 hours to kill. How are they not filling these 3 hours properly? I don't get it.
They also announced the start date for the Cruiserweight division on Raw.
I can't remember when that is. When is that?
It's September 19th, which is the Cruiserweight Classic finishes September 15th.
Okay.
So you would assume the way the dates line up that whoever wins the Cruiserweight Classic
is going to be champion. You would assume that. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. That makes sense. That would be pretty good.
I think in the video package on Raw, they also announced the first 4 guys from the Cruiserweight Classic that are getting deals.
Did they?
Yeah, maybe I read this after Raw. Maybe it wasn't in the video package.
Okay.
But they've confirmed that TJ Perkins is getting the deal.
Nice.
The Brian Kendrick is coming back full time.
Yes.
And Noam Dar.
Yeah.
Is quite like him. And Rich Swann.
Nice.
Fourth one.
Nice. I heard that they might be offering Grand Metalik a contract as well.
Yeah. And the fact that Kota Ibushi was on NXT, just hanging out with Shinsuke, surely he's on a contract as well. So you assume he's coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
And he's awesome. He's top class.
Yep. He's brilliant.
The wee segment where Triple H came out when they were chanting "Please sign Cedric," and Triple H came out and gave him a thumbs up and walked backstage with Cedric Alexander. He's getting the deal.
That was nice. Although again, I thought that was a little bit of Triple H kind of going, but putting himself over as usual.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'll make the right call.
It also seemed like because they kind of cut away and then came back to it, and it seemed kind of like one of those wee scenes in the credits of a Marvel movie or something.
It did, yeah.
Had that feel to me.
But that's what I saw somebody say that on Twitter. They're like, whenever you watch Cruiserweight Classic, make sure you stay till the end, right after the credits. And I'm like, this is exactly like a Marvel film.
Yeah.
We stay to the end. I mean, it was worth staying to the end, but silly. Okay, so Raw's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think the Cruiserweights will help with the whole filling of 3 hours.
I think so too. But hopefully that won't detract from the people who are already there. Like we said, Cesaro and Nia Jax are hardly on the show, and they're in storylines, and the Cruiserweights aren't here yet. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the way they manage their time once the Cruiserweights come in.
Yeah. One thing I don't want to see, like when the Cruiserweights were on Smackdown years ago, it was sort of like the last resort on the belt. No one was really that interested in it.
It definitely was near the end of Smackdown.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about it.
Was the last champion.
That was not good.
I want to see it be presented as a prestigious title.
Yes. But again,
also it will be the Cruiserweight title will be there in time. It didn't be for class of champions, so it'll be 5 belts rather than 4.
Do you think the Cruiserweight Championship is going to look like the United States Championship only with a red band? Because their angle seems to be
title.
Their angle just seems to be, we'll take a belt that already exists and we'll change the color, and it's different. It's a different belt. Yay!
Yeah, that very much does seem to be what they're doing.
Now, this to me, whenever I heard, when I saw the belts, the new ones, can we move to SmackDown? I guess. Are we done with Raw?
Yeah,
Okay. When I saw the new belts that they showed on SmackDown, first of all, I was a little disappointed to see that they seem to be making a lot of the belts look like their counterparts.
yeah,
Because then it's kind of hard to tell the difference. What I did like was the way the tag titles on SmackDown look. Because I think the blue and the silver look really well together.
yeah,
That's a really good look. I like it better. I like the old tag belts, but I like these ones better. Even though they're the same design, the color scheme works better. Whereas with the other belts, it's hard to tell the difference.
yeah.
Like I
I think
know
the white and blue for the women's title, I think it does look quite good.
it does, yeah, but I think
I prefer the white and red, and it makes it seem as if Charlotte was just drafted to Raw because the belt was already red.
hmm,
So,
I don't know. What I like about the belts though is that the mid card belts now have a very distinct look.
yeah,
They
that's true.
they stand out, and they not only look different from the other belts, but they look different from each other as well, which is a very. It may just be an aesthetic thing, but I think
Yeah,
that the fact that they look different can help because they stand out, and they stand out and they look different because they have such a big title history and lineage behind them. And again, this is the kind of stuff you want to talk about, but they're not going to do it. They're just
yeah,
what they're going to do is they're going to redesign the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship so that they look the same. Give them a month, they'll probably redesign them. You know what I mean?
I don't think they're going to do that. I think the US title needs to have some sort of US brand and all.
Yeah, but then
I think they're more likely to redesign the WWE title and give it a blue strap the way the Universal title has a red strap.
oh yeah,
It's
I think
horrendous looking.
that's definitely going to happen. But I don't know. I think it's silly to make all the belts look very similar to each other.
Yeah,
That's not a very good way to distinguish between brands because you could tell the difference when they did the brand split the first time. You could totally tell the difference between the Raw belt and the SmackDown belt.
yeah,
They're very, very different and distinct, but they still look good. Um, Whereas now, if both heavyweight championships look almost the same, it doesn't really have the same ring to it. It doesn't
yeah.
seem to have the same effect.
I just think the red strap looks horrific. Blue straps for the tag titles and the women's title, or just the tag titles, actually don't look that bad, I don't think.
I quite like the blue strap, but
The red strap doesn't look good at all.
red strap works okay sometimes. But if all the belts are going to be red strap, that's not going to work too well. I don't think. Um, yeah, so that was the beginning of SmackDown, where they announced new tag belts and new women's championship, which was pretty
But
cool.
again, don't crown new champions for either of these new titles.
Well, the women's, they're both getting decided at whatever the
Yeah,
next
they're
show
both
is,
going to
Backlash. And this isn't too much of an issue because there haven't been, since they're only bringing the championships in now. It's okay to leave it for a month because nobody's held it before. It's not like they're vacating the heavyweight championship, which needs somebody to hold it.
Yeah.
So I think that's okay. Yeah, okay. So what else happened on SmackDown?
They were starting the tag team tournament,
Yes.
which so far has been Breezango against American Alpha.
Yeah.
Which was a really, really good match.
It was a nice match. Whenever I saw Breezango coming out, I'm like, oh, this could be good. I mean, it would be good if they won and kind of, advanced to the tournament, legitimize them as a team. That would be good. I wonder who their opponents are. And then it's American Alpha. And I'm like, oh, well, Breezango are definitely going to lose. They're dead in the water here. But yeah, it was a good match. I like that. That was pretty cool.
What the Usos, I remember, progressed. Was it the Ascension Day?
Yes, they did. And again, I would have liked the ascension of the heel team or something like that to kind of.
Yeah, I think the Ascension need a win and need to start collecting wins to look credible again.
Yes, they really need a helping hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, it was a pretty good match. The showed me attention had not as good as the Magan Alpha and Britango, but
No.
good match nonetheless.
What this would mean, that's two face teams advancing. So you would imagine to balance it out, they're going to have two heel teams win next week, which means that I think the Vaudevillains are going to advance, which is good news because I like the Vaudevillains.
Yeah, same. They're fighting the Hype Bros, so good news on two fronts that they advance and we'll do well because of.
And then also Heath Slater
and Rhino.
Yeah. And Heath has to win the whole thing if he wants a contract, right?
Yeah, you would assume he's probably going to the final. Fight American Alpha, you would assume.
That's the way I would have pegged it. Yeah, and then American Alpha win. Heath Slater, but he put such a good job in that they give him the job anyway, because that's Shane McMahon's sake. That's how he got his job, so it'll work for Heath Slater.
That's true.
That stuff was quite fun. I enjoyed the Heath Slater stuff.
Yeah,
I thought it was weird that
when he was walking away and AJ Styles came out, like AJ stopped his promo to shout at him, "No, I won't be your tag team partner." That was hilarious.
That was good. Him being teamed up with Rhino seemed a bit weird, because I feel like him and Rhino, what's going to happen is next week Rhino's just going to turn on Heath Slater and then cost him the match, and then he doesn't get a job. But I don't know why they would do that. Yeah. I don't know. I just have a feeling that's what they're going to do, because that's the kind of crap they do. You know. Good times.
That's funny word.
Well, Connor's not here, so we have to unclass the podcast sometimes.
They sort of brushed over this in that whole segment. But who is there left for Heath and Rhino to face at this point?
There's bound to be somebody. Oh,
having to call up a tag team to take that spot in the tournament.
What about Goldust and R-Truth?
They're on Raw.
Shit, that would be why I didn't remember them. Well, they weren't on Raw last night or last week or this week, whatever it was.
Yeah. Were they? I don't think they were.
Maybe they were and I forgot. That's not good, man. It's not good. I don't know who they're gonna face. I'm sure they'll figure something out. I mean, who else? There's gotta be somebody else, right?
I don't think there is. I think they're gonna have to either put two random guys together or call up a tag team. Which I would love to see the Revival come up, but again, it needs NXT's roster thinning out quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, NXT's main title roster is solid because you've got Aries and Rude and Shinsuke and Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
They can sort of trade the belt among those four even.
And the Tommy.
Without getting stale.
Yep.
But the tag team and women's.
Yeah, they really need a boost. They really need more.
Daily now coming to Raw, and if the Ascension do leave to go to SmackDown.
Ascension are in SmackDown.
Or not the Ascension, sorry, the Revival.
That would be a bad move, I think. It would be a very bad move.
Be a great move for SmackDown, but not so good for NXT.
No. That would not be good. Yeah, they really need to kind of just keep NXT going and really add a lot more guys to it to help their divisions out. But again, some of the other divisions, like we said, the Raw women's division not looking so hot. The NXT women's division, the tag divisions need boosted as well. The SmackDown tag team division needs a wee bit of a boost as well. I mean, I thought the rosters were stacked. Where'd all the people go? But there was loads of people. They had enough people to do a brand split. Surely you could find another tag team, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But we'll see what happens next week, I guess. That should be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that should be good.
What else happened? Oh, Nikki Bella came back. And she was going to do her little match. And then Carmella turned on her. So now Carmella is a heel. What do you think of that?
I think it was good because I don't think Carmella was getting over that well by herself as a face.
Yeah.
She couldn't really do the whole end-on cast gimmick. Just with end-on cast being on Raw, it doesn't make sense to have her doing the whole how you doing thing.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Heel's probably a good move.
I think it was a good move because when Nikki came back, she was over as a face.
Yeah.
And so I think they realized that, and they said, well, we can probably milk this a bit, but if we make Nikki a face, we need another heel.
Yeah.
So I guess the smartest thing to do was to turn Carmella because she's got room to breathe, and now she's got a chance to kind of show herself, especially if she's working against Nikki Bella, because that means she's guaranteed television time.
Yeah.
This is good. This is very good for Carmella. So I had no problem with that. I thought it wasn't really a random heel turn because, like I said, Nikki Bella's come out as a face, so I suspected they would have to switch the balance there somehow. So that makes sense. So I like that, but I like Carmella anyway. I think she probably could. I think she was a little bit like brought up to the main roster too quickly, but I think now she's here, she's got a chance to kind of shine and do her best. So we shall see how good she does next week.
Who do you think is going to win the women's title in their six-pack challenge?
If it was me booking it, I think if it was me booking it, we all know that I would pick Natalya because I always talk about how great Natalya is. But I would pick Natalya because she is a heel, but she's also very experienced, and she would be able to work well with some of the other guys, and then have Becky, chasing Natalya, because at the moment it's good. Becky's a face, it's all good, but she's got nobody to chase after. So once there is a heel champion, she'll be able to do like you could probably do a month or two of that, of Becky chasing the championship, and I think that would work out pretty well. So that I would have Natalya win, be the first champion now, but by the end of the year, the belt would have switched and Becky would be champion. That's what I would do.
I would probably go along with that, or I would just really want to see Becky win, so I wouldn't mind if it just went straight to her.
Yeah.
But I suspect Nikki Bella's going to win.
Ooh.
And benefit no one.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have gone with Nikki Bella. But again, they have a lot of faith in Nikki Bella, so I feel like because they're both faces, having Nikki Bella as the champion would not be good for Becky Lynch, because it would be harder for her to get to the top. Face versus face matches don't, unless they turn Nikki again once she's champion, but they got a month to figure this shit out, I guess. They don't have to do it till whenever the fuck Backlash is. I don't know.
I don't even think it is a month. I think it's like maybe 2 weeks.
Is it really 2 weeks?
I think it's pretty early in September.
Okay, let me see if I can find out. Backlash 2016. It is. This is riveting podcast stuff right here. September 11th. Oh, they timed that well. Too soon. September 11th. Wow, that really is only like 2 or 3 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well then, yeah. Well, yeah, they still have a couple of weeks to figure it out, I guess. But, well, here's the other thing. Like, that's 3 matches that are for Backlash, which is in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
How do you fill the rest of that card? You've got those 3 matches. You've got an Intercontinental Championship match, we assume. So that's 4. Yeah. That's 4 matches. How else do you fill that card?
Well, Randy Orton got interrupted by Bray Wyatt on Smackdown. So there's a match there. That
is true. So that's 5. Interesting. What do you think about the Randy Orton Bray Wyatt thing?
I think they'll put on good matches. Good for Bray Wyatt because he gets TV time, which hasn't been getting enough of. But I think both of them, because Randy's credibility was ruined by Brock Lesnar, and because Bray's not been on TV, they both need a win, and I don't think they can both get it in this rivalry.
No, I would imagine with this rivalry that Randy Orton is going to win.
Yeah.
Outright. Which makes sense from a heel face kind of thing, but also because I don't know, maybe I feel like they have more faith in Randy Orton than they do in Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt's so good and they just keep him around and they don't really do anything with him.
Yeah.
Like before SummerSlam, I had liked the way that the Smackdown title picture was being played out, because it was very clear that Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler were going to be in the main event at SummerSlam, but Bray Wyatt was always there in the background, always had his hand, in whatever those two were up to. So it felt like they were already setting up the next contender for the belt. It seemed like whoever was going to win at SummerSlam was going to fight Bray Wyatt. That's just the way it seemed like it was being booked. And then this week on Smackdown, whenever Dolph Ziggler came out to attack AJ Styles, I thought that's good. What they're going to do here is they're going to have AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler at the show, and then also have Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt at Backlash. That's perfect. That makes perfect sense. So of course, that is not what they did. They now have a Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles, and no Dolph Ziggler. I don't think.
I assume Dolph Ziggler is going to get a match somewhere on the card.
Yes, but do you think he's gonna find a way to weasel his way into the title picture, or will he just have another throwaway match on the card?
More likely just another throwaway match, I think. I think the match at SummerSlam was disappointing enough, but I don't see him being allowed back into the title picture straight away.
True, but then
I also think they're probably going to take the belt off Dayton because of how bad the match at SummerSlam was.
Well, I figured they were probably going to do that anyway. I feel like once AJ Styles won that match against John Cena, that they were definitely going to put the belt on him at some point.
Yeah.
Sooner rather than later, I thought. So this, makes sense. I would be surprised if Dean Ambrose was able to retain at Backlash. I'd be very surprised. Especially given the role.
AJ Styles taking it Backlash.
Oh yeah, and he's been on such a roll recently, AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So I could see that. But it makes you wonder what Ziggler's going to be up to. You know what I mean? They spent a good month pushing Ziggler and Dean Ambrose and making Ziggler seem like a big deal, and now they're just going to forget about him. And I think that might be on Ziggler, but that's just me. So, yeah, that should be interesting. But my original point was that I thought Bray Wyatt was going to be in the main event, and now he's in a match against Randy Orton, which will be fine. It'll be a good match. But I feel like Wyatt has to lose this match. I feel like the way that they ended SummerSlam, they have to give Randy Orton his heat back, and the way to do that is to just have him beat Bray Wyatt. So once again, Bray Wyatt turns into a punching bag for everybody else.
Yeah, I think it's an odd timing for Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt because I think they're both lacking credibility at the minute.
Yep.
So I suppose if they go out and put on a really good match, I suppose you can be pushed while losing, I suppose.
Exactly. And Bray Wyatt
have a really great match, which I think they're both capable of doing. It doesn't really matter who wins, they'll both get some credibility back.
Yeah. Bray Wyatt's got the kind of gimmick where a couple of losses isn't going to hurt him too much.
Yeah.
Which they seem to know because they make him lose more than he wins, which is not good. But I reckon he could, he could probably take a loss to Randy Orton with no real problem to his character.
Yeah, as long as it's a competitive match.
Yeah.
I'm not, Randy Orton didn't lose all his credibility by not beating Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
He lost all his credibility by being squashed.
Yeah, by not wrestling Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That was the problem. It wasn't really a match. It was just Brock beats the crap out of somebody, and then Brock wins by knocking the crap out of somebody. That's not.
That's all Brock Lesnar shoots have been since he broke the streak.
Yes, I have noticed that. I've noticed that's pretty much been the deal. It's just a lot of him being incredibly violent and MMA-ish, with that wee kind of edge to it. But I don't know. I don't know if that plan's working, but they're doing their best.
Yeah, like him and Dean at WrestleMania in a street fight, like Dean should have been able to compete with him by like doing all this inventive shit with weapons that he likes to do.
Yep.
But it was just another squash match. I'm sick of it.
But then, did you hear Dean Ambrose talking about that on the Stone Cold podcast?
I've read what he said about it, that he had loads of ideas that he pitched, and Brock just flatly turned them all down.
Yep.
And just wanted to go out and work a squash match.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's all Brock does.
Yeah, it's a shame.
For 2.5 years now.
That's all he's kind of been doing, which is a shame. But
I think the only good match Brock has been involved in that time was the triple threat with Cena and Rollins.
That was great.
And that's just large portions of the match. Those two sort of teamed up and took Brock out and then wrestled each other.
Yeah, which is kind of why it was good, right?
Yeah, it was good because of what Seth Rollins and John Cena did.
Yeah, dude, they pulled it out. That was good. What else happened on SmackDown? Have we covered most of it?
Let's see, there was 2 new titles. The new number 1 contender, Brian Orton.
Becky Lynch had a match.
Yes, she did. She had a match.
Was that against Alexa Bliss? I can't remember.
It was. I think it was Alexa Bliss. She was right. And Naomi and Natalia were on commentary.
Yes.
So I think all 6 of the Divas. That's a weird term to say, all 6. 6 isn't a big number. But
nope.
I think all of them got some sort of TV time between the Nikki Bella and Carmella segment, which I thought was quite good for both.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss and Becky was quite a good match. Longer than Divas matches have been.
Yeah.
Or women's matches.
Yes.
Have been for the last while, which is always a plus.
Yeah.
And I thought Naomi actually came across quite well on commentary.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, the more TV time they've been giving her, the more interested I am. Which is,
I think she's more natural as a face as well. I don't think she was working as a heel.
Yeah, I think it definitely works a lot better the way they have it now.
Thought it was weird that Natalia referred to herself as Queen of Black Hearts on SmackDown. That's normally been sort of Moro's wee thing behind her back, where she thinks she's Queen of Hearts.
Yeah. Let me tell you one thing about that guy, by the way. Moro. That guy has got a line for everything. He doesn't run out of lines. He is on all the time. Yeah. It's a joy to listen to him, because he comes up with something new. Not even every match, but like every hold. He's got a new thing. He's got a new, line, He's so, man, that guy's good.
Yeah,
I love him.
I really enjoy his work.
That guy.
It's sort of highlighted on SmackDown how good he was when he was coming out with all these great lines, while Otunga and JBL were just arguing about how successful Otunga's wife is. The guy was genuinely, while a match was going on, they were talking about to what level of success Jennifer Hudson has become a movie star, while Moro was just sort of trying to call the match with these 2 idiots either side of him.
But again, if Michael Cole was in that scenario, he would just, it wouldn't, he wouldn't have a line. He wouldn't be able to save the commentary. He'd just be
he would just side with JBL and be like Jennifer Hudson shit.
Yep.
But JBL scares him.
Yes. So, yeah.
Came out with one really great line on SmackDown. What was it? I think it was during the AJ Styles match.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he said AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler going at it like a carpenter and a dentist, tooth and nail.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. That's what I mean. He's always got a line though. He's snappy. I like it. Smart guy, man. I mean, he's a breath of fresh air. The commentary. I mean, that's why I like watching SmackDown better than Raw, because that guy is just the best, and also it's shorter and it
Yeah,
feels like they time it better.
yeah,
Um,
that's all true.
Sometimes Raw gets to be a real fucking slog. You know, it's real. There's a lot to it, and it's sometimes it's just not fun to watch. You know, SmackDown seems to have their shit together a little bit better.
I think Raw. There's always good parts of Raw,
Yes,
but quite often there's a lot of bullshit in between.
yes, that is exactly it.
But I'm really hoping that the cruiserweights coming to Raw helps them fill that time.
Yeah,
Because there's probably like 40 minutes of filler every week on Raw at the minute. Just whack a couple of cruiserweight matches into that, it'll be grand.
it should be all right. It should be a lot better.
And, condense all the other stuff down, get rid of all the useless filler.
Or what they could do is give the cruiserweights 2 minutes per match and then increase the bullshit.
Well, I think we'll all know which of those two scenarios is the most likely.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. They'll give the
That's what I'm saying.
cruiserweights.
Like, I really don't want them to be throwing out like a 2 or 3 minute cruiserweight match every week.
Well, I think
Just to have the division.
when
Want
they
them to actually build feuds in it.
when they start it, they'll probably go balls to the wall with cruiserweight stuff, and then after about a month or two, once the shine has wore off, they will go back to the regular booking. That's what I think. Oh dear. What else happened on SmackDown? Is that it? Did we cover everything?
I can't think of any other feuds that really. There was no sort of indication of who the Miz might be fighting next.
No, they didn't deliver on that at all, which was a real shame.
Although I thought the segment backstage where he thought they were having a conversation with turned out Miz was on the phone with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
It was quite amusing.
I'll be honest with you, that worked pretty well. That was well played by the Miz. Well played. And you know, I don't say that often.
Connor just texted and said we need to give the Miz an honorable mention for talking smack. But I haven't seen talking smack, so
I haven't seen it either. But I know people have been talking about it.
I read news about talking smack, and I did intend to watch it at some point because one tweet that I read said that Miz cut the best promo since CM Punk's pipe bomb.
That sounds like hyperbole.
Big talk.
Yeah, that's big. That's big news.
I'm going to have to catch up on talking smack.
Well, here's what I think. I think, from what I've heard, and we'll do this really quick because neither of us have seen it, but we both read or we've heard about it. So it seems like, to me, Danny Bryan said to The Miz, hey, you wrestle a cowardly style, and I don't like it. And then The Miz got angry and said, well, I'm not the one who's injured and I'm not the one who can't wrestle anymore. Oh, hang on. I'm not the one that yada yada yada. I'm the Continental Champion. I'm the best. Blah blah blah. And I said that was the best Miz promo they've heard, which is fair enough. But then they don't have a whole lot to compare it to when it comes to best Miz promos. And what I thought was interesting was that Danny Bryan said, I don't wrestle like a coward, and the Miz is like, well, I don't get injuries. And I'm like, well, doesn't that prove everything that Danny Bryan said was correct?
Yeah.
Doesn't that totally prove that? It's like, well, that's because you wrestle like a coward. That's why you'll be able to be injury free, and it's because you don't wrestle in a very interesting way. That I don't see how that. I mean, I guess I have to see it to get the context of it, but I don't know. I mean, just because the Miz has stuck around and been here for ages doesn't mean that it's been any good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I don't like the Miz, so I don't want to be too biased when I say this, but I haven't seen it. But it's from what I've heard. I think people are hyping it up way more than they need to. I think they just heard a good Miz promo and were amazed they heard a good Miz promo. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna comment on it. Next time, whenever Connor's on, we will do a much more unbiased version of this conversation whenever we both get to hear it. I think that's a fair thing. But until then, I'm just not going to comment on it any further and just say that The Miz is terrible.
Fair enough.
That one's for you, Connor. That one's for you. Okay. Is there anything else we need to cover? Have we hit everything pretty well?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the major news of the week.
I think so. Disappointed that the WWE aren't following up with their mid-card champions like they should be. But then that's no surprise, I don't think.
And I'm still baffled how bad Summerslam was.
It was not so good, man. Not so good.
I think it's probably good that it's now Wednesday and we've waited this long to do this. We haven't done podcast on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
A lot angrier.
It would have been very different, I think. Very different. Well, I can't wait for them to blow us away with Backlash, right? Which they almost certainly will.
Surely it can only be better than SummerSlam.
It has to be. They can't do any worse.
And if it features AJ Styles winning the WWE title, all the better.
It'll be a good match, that's for sure.
Although, I know you want Dean to hold the title forever and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think AJ is the guy to drop it to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happened at Backlash. I could see that. I could see that.
So, who do you reckon will be Miz's next challenger?
Oh, dear. Who else is there? Who the heck else is there?
I really can't think of who else is on the Smackdown roster at the minute.
Sin Cara? Is he on there? Baron Corbin and Kalisto. Is that
Kalisto's
SmackDown?
Sin Cara's on Raw.
So
Kalisto could be an interesting challenger.
That Baron Corbin thing hasn't really been played up on, has it?
No. And Baron Corbin didn't have a match on SmackDown either, which I thought was strange.
This is not so good. This is not how you hype your people up. Oh, well. I'm going to send this podcast to WWE so that they can book us or they can hire us as fucking writers. Because we would kick ass at this, man. They probably won't listen to it, though, because they're busy people, but I'll send it over anyway, just for fun. Yeah, so overall, we're a little bit disappointed with WWE at the moment, but they could pull it back.
Well, yeah, I would say I was very disappointed with WWE after Sunday.
Yeah.
But a good Raw and a good SmackDown have brought them back down.
Yeah. Well, we should see what the
Cruiserweight Classic is on tonight.
That's always good.
Any idea what matches are on the Cruiserweight Classic tonight, though?
Yes, I found out. I think Gargano's fighting. Rich Swann versus Lince Dorado. Johnny Gargano versus TJ Perkins, which would be sweet as fuck.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And Drew Gulak versus Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr., I'm sorry. That should be pretty good too.
Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. seems very interesting to watch.
He's been great.
Gargano and Ciampa's match was awesome. So
yep.
Him against TJ Perkins sounds very good. I really enjoyed TJ Perkins' last match as well, actually.
Yeah, man.
Disappointed Gentleman Jack lost his match.
That was a great match, though, wasn't it?
Good match, yeah.
A lot of fun.
Before I watched it, how good it was.
Yeah.
But Gentleman Jack was the memorable part of it, and he was the one who out there good. So I thought, the wrong guy won that one, but
maybe. But I reckon he'll definitely get a wee NXT run.
Yeah,
I
or
think.
even straight to Raw for the Cruiserweight thing.
Maybe, but I think he's got the kind of gimmick that would work really well in NXT. They would love him there, you know?
Yeah, they would. I think he'd get over on Raw as well. I think he is very entertaining.
He is very good. He's very, very good.
I think if Zack Sabre Jr. signed for WWE, I think he might need to go to NXT for a while. Just because he's something very different about him. This whole escapability thing. And I think he would need some fine tuning before it comes to the main roster. Although it's awesome to watch it though.
It is very, very good. Yeah, so they're not in dire straits just yet.
Yeah.
They're doing pretty well.
Presumably they're going to take a lot of these Cruiserweight Classic guys into either WWE or NXT.
I would imagine so, which is a smart move, really.
32 of them. Only around 3 or so were already with the league. So.
Yeah, and they got a lot of good talent right there, so
yeah.
that can only be a good thing. So yeah, the future looks pretty good. Hopefully, if they do it right.
So just the improved already what they need to do is sack Brock Lesnar, tag that with Jack.
That's easy.
That's my part thoughts for this podcast.
Excellent. I'm gonna concur with those. Imagine the SummerSlam main event being Randy Orton versus Gentleman Jack.
Brilliant stuff.
Way better, wouldn't it have been? Way
Randy
better.
Orton being tied in the ball and whatnot. Great.
I mean, I would have paid good money for that. That would have been great. But I have no closing statements for this podcast other than to say the Miz is no good. So there you go.
I think that's become your catchphrase at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. The Miz is no good. Dean Ambrose is great. That's my MO, I think. So yeah, I guess we'll be back next week with another podcast. Hopefully one with the third amigo if he ever wakes up. So that should be good. Yay.
Right.